Nominate the youth sports volunteer that you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week. Submit your nomination at KSLSports.com/contest, and then listen every Thursday afternoon to JJ and Alex for the winner. Help us celebrate the efforts of those volunteers making an impact with the Hercules Hero of the Week, sponsored by Hercules Credit Union and Beehive Meals.
The countdown is on to college football. 17 days to those Thursday night openers. We're 2.5 weeks out. So for the National Football Writers, PK, it's time to crank out a little column with maybe a list or two in it. Pat Forty, Sports Illustrated, the 25 most intriguing college football coaches for 2024.
That's interesting. Do you know the doctor who brought me into this earth was Dr. Forty?
I did not.
Mm-hmm. But I think it was F-O-R-T-E.
Not F-O-R-D.
Yeah.
Like the writer. Well, number one, of course, with Nick Saban out, Kalen DeBoer, how's he going to do at Alabama? That's in Ryan Day. If a coach with a 56-8 career record can be in a must-win situation, this is it. Ryan Day at Ohio State. So he goes on down the list, and there's some predictable stuff. Deion is number 5 on the list, Coach Prime. And down there at number 24.
What's the list?
The 25 most intriguing college football coaches for 2024.
All right, I got it.
And at number 24, Kyle Whittingham, Utah Utes. With Utah naming defensive coordinator Morgan Scalley as its coach in waiting, speculation is simmering that this might be Whittingham's last season. The 64-year-old Whittingham has had 17 winning seasons in 19 years, including the last 10 in a row. With ancient quarterback Cam Rising back for one last ride, Utah is the preseason favorite to win its new league, the Big 12. It could be a great last lap for Whittingham, who's never gotten his full due nationally. When I saw ancient quarterback Cam Rising and Whittingham has never gotten his full due, I'm like, this was written for PK.
Kyle has gotten the due that he deserves. That statement is doo-doo. It is so typical of national folk who think that over and over and over again. That's simply not true. He is the most overrated, underrated coach in the history of football. He's not underrated.
I could hear all these words being spoken as I read it. It was so perfect.
His level of due, D-U-E, matches his level of accomplishment, which is significant. And his level of due is also significant. They parallel each other. And the great thing about it, it's all earned. There is zero hype surrounding this dude. He is hypeless. He is a meat and potatoes football coach and throwing some steak when you're hungry. And he will fill your gut. It matches. The two, they're like train tracks. They're parallel to each other, the accomplishment and the due. He's gotten it all. And it's all, the cool thing is it's earned. It's not anything that's any hype. It's not overblown. It's not, well, he's this or that. No, he clearly, truly is what he is. And that's a great football coach who runs a great football program.
And I've read this now at so many national publications. I've been watching Fox and seeing the crew, led by Urban Meyer, but the other, all agree and pump him up. And we've watched ESPN, Herb Street. Well, we saw him ride the motorcycle in, and they all went nuts over that.
That was total BA.
It's everywhere.
I let him know that.
It's on ESPN. It's on Fox Sports. It's everywhere. Yeah. You read stuff.
I'm tired of the mantra that Utah is this underappreciated, complimented program. It's not. And that's one of the things that I love that Ryan Smith is doing. Let's get away with this small market nonsense. It's like a crutch that's a negative thing. No, we're not, man. We can pay you top dollar. You can get everything you want here with the Jazz. And I love that he's doing that. And it's a continuation of what Dennis Lindsey and those guys were doing. Because they're right in thinking that way. Kyle doesn't care what you think, so it's not like he's trying to break some stereotype. No. He revels in what the program is about. And the one, there's a million things I got respect for him about, but one of the things is the nature of the program. This is what we do, and we don't vary from this. This is just who we are, and he sells that over and over again, and it's clearly resonated with so many kids, so much top-level talent. That's like saying, and you'll hear this too now, oh, they do so much with so little.
No. We've heard from so many players. We've heard from so many of the old Pac-12 media that went to every school and didn't have any emotional buy-in to Utah one way or the other. The facilities here are great. The fan passion here is outstanding. Only Oregon can match game day atmosphere. Autzen can get crazy during a game. Rice-Eccles can get crazy during a game. The other 10 are hoping, even SC. SC fans, there's a big chunk of the SC fan base that sits there and waits to be entertained. And you can talk to a former USC assistant coach, and he'll tell you, yeah, we get 2 good crowds a year. We got to play the right team at the right time. The building
is so enormous.
The building is enormous. It's gigantic. And when you get a steady diet of Notre Dame, UCLA, and whatever big game, they do kind of ho-hum conference games, and they do. You get an 8:30 game, and they're like, 1 o'clock. Couldn't you play at 6? I want to go to the beach today and then go to the game. I mean, it's just kick off at 6, be undefeated and have 1 loss, and play a top 10 opponent. That's what, and SC fans get it so often, it's no wonder that's what they get up for. Because they can get that 2 or 3 times a year.
Yeah, and every game's on TV, and you got to fight the traffic.
Traffic, yep.
There's things that I can leave my house 1 hour before kickoff here and be in my seat.
And there's a lot of USC fans in Orange County, and they can't say that. They can't say that, right? You
can't do that from the South Bay.
So you talk to the media, and you talk to the players, and even if you talk to most of the coaches are at Utah for a long time, but the occasional coach who comes and goes. The Utes have spent money on facilities. They don't have to offer up any excuses or apologies, take a back seat. They pay their coaches, and the NIL, they've got good NIL. They don't have great. I mean, they can get outbid by Ohio State if that's what it comes down to.
Everybody can.
Right, exactly. But most schools, they've got the NIL to compete with. So if they could get a good coach, they ought to be good. Well, they did get a good coach, and they are good. They've been in the conference title game 4 times in 6 years.
Right.
For a reason. It's a good program built on a good foundation. And I guess the only way you can defend any of this is that there are fans of other schools on the other side of the country who aren't paying attention, who haven't absorbed it. That'd be one. And then I did think that, I think it was Dennis Dodd who came on with this, or who said that he did the research on all the teams that moved.
It was McMurphy.
It was McMurphy. It was Brett McMurphy.
Yeah.
The research on all the teams that have moved conferences, and the Utes are the one who have the winning record.
They're the outlier.
In conference, they're the outlier. So what they've tried to do is actually really difficult, and Utah's pulled it off. And everybody else, Louisville, TCU, West Virginia.
I think TCU's close.
They're close. What TCU has is they're very good at having the gigantic year, but if you look in between, they have 3 or 4 years and they aren't very good, but then they have a fantastic year again. So they've done it a little differently, and they're really the only one who you'd compare. It's been more of a struggle for the Louisvilles, the West Virginias. And McMurphy's point in that is now we've got all these Pac-12 teams changing leagues. How are they all going to adapt to that? Because whether you're coming for G5 or from P5, it's been really hard, as we saw in the Big 12 last year.
Yes, all that is true. This is a fine program run by a fine coach. And as I told some people when we were doing a panel discussion, that the guy hasn't embarrassed your program. He hasn't won at a cost. There's some programs that win at a cost. Urban Meyer in Florida. You can argue Ohio State. And the cost hasn't been there in terms of the embarrassment. So, but I get that's what those guys aren't here day to day. And how would you know? You wouldn't know. So it's what they should be saying because they don't know. And then they read and hear other guys say it. Oh, then I'll say it too because it's safe. You're complimenting him. And people, the media likes to compliment when it's deserved, because then you can be a buddy in a sense, even though you aren't really. I'm sure Canzano, who did the interview with Kyle, thinks that they're friends. They'll never do anything together socially, but he thinks that's my guy because he'll consent to an interview. And everybody likes that. And then that gives you some separation. Yeah, I know that guy. Oh, that guy, he's a tremendous guy, right? When you go out on the golf course and blah, blah, blah. And so it's sort of natural. I would expect that now because the media is essentially a dog. I've been saying this for decades. You kick the dog bites you. You pet the dog licks you, snuggles up to you, right? That's what we'd all prefer, to be petted rather than kicked. But some of us, if this job calls to be kicked, we're kicked. If that's the truth. You know, there was a guy I covered in here for a few years, and we grappled back and forth. But the truth set us all free, as we found out.
DJ PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. More on the Utes. Steve Bartle, Utah Insider for The Zone, coming up at the top of the hour. Stay with us.